All right, so you've just clicked on a video that I'm confident will change your life for the better. This is because I'm gonna do something that has never been done before. I'm gonna teach you what schools will never teach and give you the complete ultimate guide on how to access one of the world's most powerful tools that the ultra rich and wealthy have mastered for centuries. This tool here affects the home you live in, the type of car you drive. It can affect whether you sit in the back of the plane paying for every single one of those flights to sitting first class all completely for free, getting served drinks and food. Not only that, but it can affect the business that you decide you want to start one day. Now look, how do I know all this? Well, I've been there. From sitting in the back of the plane constantly next to literal turds flushing down next to me through a 2-inch wall to now flying first class all around the world, from driving my $5,000 Ford 500 that broke down constantly on the side of the road to now owning 3 of my dream vehicles, to living in an apartment where I literally got chased down with a knife, to living in one of the best neighborhoods here in Maryland. The last few years wouldn't have been made possible if it wasn't for all the things that I'm going to teach you in this video here today. Now, I have a deep conviction that financial literacy is one of the most important skills to learn, because if you don't understand how this works, you could put yourself into debt, or even worse, be stuck in the same poverty rat race that millions of Americans are still barely crawling by. This video is going to be completely free, and it's made up of my near decade worth of experience from learning it, doing it, and still practicing what I teach on my channel every single day. By the end of this video, you're gonna know everything there is about utilizing this tool. You're gonna know exactly how to get started in your journey, and all I ask is that if you find any new value at all from what I give you today, go ahead and drop a like down below. And look, you don't have to do the next part, but if you comment a word of encouragement, I won't be shy to say that I really appreciate that too. It makes this whole thing of me talking to a camera, which is, look, not the most natural thing in the world, a whole lot easier. Now, enough chatter from me. This tool that I've been talking about is called credit. So credit is used all around us. It's what has allowed great countries like the United States get to where we're at today. It turns out capitalism was built on credit, and it laid the foundation of where we are as a society. Tech giants in Silicon Valley who birthed companies like Airbnb, Uber, Facebook, and more needed credit from investors to get to where they are today. It turns out even Elon Musk, one of the world's richest people in the world, bought Twitter with credit, not cash. Look even at student loans. They're one of the largest form of credit that gets extended to students every single year. Small businesses, they're the backbones of what makes this economy so great, and most of them start their journey with utilizing credit from banks and other entrepreneurs. Even our very own government utilizes credit daily through borrowing money constantly from bonds and other instruments to fund our healthcare, military, and central government. Now, the way credit works is super simple. Imagine this. You and I are sitting in a classroom at school, and I want to buy a chocolate bar for $10, but I only have $5 in my pocket. So you respond to me with this. Okay, Brian, I'll lend you the $5, but when you pay me back tomorrow, you owe me an extra $3 on top of that. Now that $3 is what we call interest for borrowing money. At this point, you have just extended to me a credit of $5, and for me to use that, I then pay you the $3 in interest. Now with your $5, I can now put that together with my own $5 that I had to buy that $10 chocolate bar, and at a later date, pay you the $3 that I owe to you for letting me borrow some of your money. Now, say I decide to take your money and not pay you back what I owe. And yes, I ended up keeping that chocolate, and it was delicious, by the way. But what I did was not right. You're a person of honor, okay? And you don't want what I did to you happen to others, so you decide to report me to the principal of the school. So the principal calls me in, something I'm not unfamiliar with, by the way, and they said, look, Brian, since you don't pay back your debts on time, we're gonna warn others about you and give you a public score, say 500 out of 850, so that they know to be careful about extending credit to me. So what I explained to you is how credit works and how even the principle of a credit score is developed in the real world. Now, in the real world, there are 3 main credit bureaus called Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Now, here's where things get juicy. It turns out if you pay your credit back on time to these big banks and companies, you never have to pay interest at all, but instead, you can actually make money as a reward for the act of borrowing the bank's money and then paying it back on time. So I currently have over 20 different credit cards, and in the last 5 years, I've accrued millions of points, which is currently worth anywhere from $30,000 conservatively to over $100,000 that I can use freely at any time. Now, the reason why there's such a high discrepancy where it can go as low as 30 grand to as high as 100 grand is through what we call redemption. If I use my points for just cash back, I could redeem one 1 point to 1 cent. On the other hand, if I use those same points for travel, more specifically getting first class flights, I can get a greater point redemption where instead of my points being worth 1 cent to 1 point, it could be worth 5 cents to even 15 cents per 1 point instead. As an example, the American Express Gold Card, one of my favorite cards and the first metal card that I ever got, had a welcome bonus offer of 60,000 membership reward points. By the way, membership reward points is just the bank's own lingo. Chase has ultimate reward points, Citi has thank you reward points, Capital One uses miles instead of points, but at the end of the day, points or miles, whatever it is, they're all worth 1 point to 1 cent. So an easy trick to do in the world of credit cards is if you're trying to calculate the value of what your points are worth, just go ahead and take off 2 zeros. So 60,000 membership reward points with 2 zeros knocked down is $600. That's how much that welcome bonus would be at its base rate. Now the requirement here is that in order for you to earn $600, you need to spend $6,000 in 6 months. So that means every month, if you're able to spend $1,000 for those 6 months, you're gonna be able to get that prize of a minimum of $600 cash back. So what we just covered was your typical welcome bonus offer when applying for a new credit card. And this is how you stack up points and miles the fastest and efficient way. But even on top of that, credit cards also give you a small amount of points or cash back on every purchase you make. Look, unless you're living under a rock, with just about any credit card, I'm sure you've heard the term you can get 1 to 4x back on your spend. As someone who even now is skeptical of anything that sounds too good to be true, growing up, that was especially the case when it comes to me finding out about credit cards for the very first time. For a while, I tried to wrap my head around it, but I couldn't get it. I used to ask myself, how on earth can these companies go out and pay me free money for me using their own money? Now, if you're wondering that, it's a valid question, and it turns out that there's actually 3 main reasons. So number 1, some cards are loss leaders. A great example is the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which was a card that gave away so much money to cardholders that it cut profits for JP Morgan Chase by over $300 million. It turns out banks are willing to take a loss on certain products because they know they have other products that they can make money on over time, like auto loans, mortgages, where unlike credit cards, you must pay interest back on it regardless of even if you pay back your payments on time in full. The second reason is that credit card companies make money from the interchange fee. So you may not have known, but whenever you use a credit card, retailers have to pay a credit card merchant fee, also known as interchange. When you go to the hole-in-the-wall Asian restaurant and they say no Amex or no credit card, cash only, it's because they're saving a couple dollars when you use cash because they all get charged that credit card merchant fee. So here's what that fee looks like. You'll notice that even some issuers like Amex will charge upwards of 1.43% to even as high as 3.3% on a purchase. So the third and final reason is that there are always going to be people who end up using credit for the wrong reason and they end up paying interest on that amount. America's total credit card debt came in at right over $1 trillion in the third quarter of 2023, leaving the balance the highest since the New York Fed began tracking in 1999. So those people who pay interest on their cards are also the same people that are help funding the free points and cash back that you and I can get. So to simplify things even further, just imagine this. There's 2 types of people. 1, the person who has credit card debt with the system working against them. The second person, which will be you by the end of this video, is, by the way, beautiful, handsome, talented, charismatic, and just overall amazing human being, is a person who has the whole quote unquote rigged system working for you. A few years ago, I was featured in one of the highest viewed Netflix documentaries called Money Explained, and on an episode they did about credit, I was representing the person you're on your way of becoming, where the system was working for me. Look, I've been in this game for quite a while now, and there's no secret. There's no big, evil, rigged matrix out here to get you. The way it all works is actually very simple, and it's as easy as you getting a new credit card. You use that card for your spend, you turn on auto pay, and you only spend money that you know you have, and you win. It's just that there's gonna be some people who won't ever see a video like this and overspend on those new Jordans or that new Gucci bag, knowing well enough they have less than $1,000 to their name. So this should all seem easy enough. It's pretty straightforward, but this is actually just the beginning, because what I have for you in this video isn't just about educating you on the basics of credit and how credit card points work, but I'm going deep. I'm gonna walk you through the full updated credit card roadmap that it took me a near decade to complete and to master. From that, you're gonna have full clarity on knowing the best credit cards to get started with. From there, we'll go over how you can redeem the potential millions of points you earn from following my roadmap to extract maximum value so you don't leave a penny out on the table. I'll then share with you the secrets on how you can get approved for any credit card, because it turns out even if you apply, the banks can still reject your application. We'll then go over what you can do to get a perfect 850 credit score. I'm then gonna go over easy ways for you to get points that are worth thousands of dollars without much effort, and I'm gonna share with you the exact steps on how I was able to leverage my credit to eventually buy one of my dream cars a few years back. Towards the end of the video, I'm gonna go over probably the most important thing, which is knowing the cardinal rules. Because if you break those very rules, even by mistake, it could cost you everything. So I'll go over solutions to making sure that it doesn't happen to you. So this video here today is gonna be packed with a ton of great information. I'm pretty much condensing all of my knowledge, all the best videos that I've made into this one entire full guide here. With that being said, let's get started. All right, so when it comes to the credit card game, there are gonna be four main issuers. You have American Express, Chase, Capital One, and Citibank. Aside from them, you're gonna find different bank and credit union cards, which are still not bad, but I would say the first four that we mentioned are gonna take precedent over some of these other cards. Within the bank and credit union cards, US Bank is a very solid choice. Navy Fed is still pretty good, and you also have Bank of America. From there, we have different store cards. Now, there are gonna be good store cards, mid-tier store cards that I would say are decent, and then you have your bad co-branded cards. Your good store cards, I'd consider Apple to be a decent choice. There are still going to be options better than Apple, but it is not a terrible card by any means. You have your Amazon Visa card. This is something that I use for my Amazon purchases, and it allows me to get some additional cash back on my spend. And if you're someone who's spending a lot of money on Amazon Prime, things like that, this is a card that I would still consider at some point. Another example is a Citi Costco card. If you're buying a lot of stuff from Costco and they're not accepting your American Express, it's also another good option for you to earn some cash back. Some decent co-branded cards. You have the Best Buy card. The reason why this isn't too bad is because they have like a no interest payment period, but you also get additional cash back. And things like the Instacart MasterCard is not a terrible card. It's not something I would prioritize, but like I mentioned earlier, these are viable. I would keep your eyes out on bad co-branded cards. There are some that I would never touch, and that's because of this reason here. Say as an example with the Old Navy card, the welcome bonus offer is that I'd get 30% off my first purchase that I use with that card at Old Navy compared to an American Express Platinum card where I can earn up to 90,000 membership reward points. That is a value at conservatively $900 cash back. If you look at the example here, it's a no-brainer for the amount of money that you can get. Now, I know a lot of people might be wondering then, Brian, well, why don't I just apply for all of the cards? I can still at least get a little bit of cash back from Old Navy. Well, the reason why you want to think twice about that is because of these two main reasons. Number one, the Chase 524 rule. Chase is going to be a prime issuer. They have a great ecosystem of cards. They've had a rule for as long as I've remembered where if you've applied for more than 5 credit cards within a 24-month period, you're going to get automatically declined for one of Chase's products. The second reason is that credit card denials can happen if you get too many approvals within a short period of time. So what is the process then for getting the best credit cards? Well, this then leads to my recommended credit card sequence. Here on your screen, you're going to see a credit card sequence that I've methodically laid out so that you're able to maximize all of the different rules and workarounds so that you can get the most amount of points possible. This is first going to start with the Capital One Saver One credit card, which I'd consider to be one of the best credit cards for this year. Now, the reason why I think this is a great starter card, no matter where you're at within your journey, is because Capital One is an issuer that's a lot more lenient on newer applicants and people who are fresh to the credit card game. By taking a look at the benefits on your screen, I mean, it just blows so many credit cards out of the water. You can earn $200 after you spend $500 on your card. This makes for a great beginner card. You can earn 5% back on hotels and rental cars booked through the Capital One travel portal. You can earn 3% back on dining, entertainment, streaming services, and grocery stores, but you can find yourself getting 10% back on Uber Eats and Uber purchases, which is crazy. This is through November 2024, and then you can also get a free Uber One membership fee. So when it comes to this being your first card, definitely prioritize getting that welcome bonus offer. Get in the routine of building your credit. So all you have to do is sign up for the card, use that card to make purchases, and then set up auto pay and make sure that you are never going negative or leaving a balance on that credit card. It is from there where you're then going to look into getting your first Chase product. So the Chase Freedom Flex is the next card that you want to get because of the 524 rule, as we mentioned earlier. They have great card options and an upgrade path. They have over 20 different credit cards that you can get. But most importantly, Chase also has a great ecosystem where you can really work up the ranks. So Chase has affiliation with JP Morgan. They're literally the same product. And JP Morgan has some of the largest assets in the world. Now, I used to bank with a variety of different people, small banks in my local area, but I come to realize that the safest bank is probably going to be the one that is the biggest. When it comes to recognizing the whales in the space, JP Morgan is no exception. This is why I decided to build up my relationship with them, because even after you get the Freedom Flex card, they're going to have a variety of different programs like Chase Private Client, or even their invite only, super exclusive JP Morgan Reserve card, where you can only get invited to this card if you have over $10 million of assets with Chase. Now, I know that's a high number. Most of us probably won't even be able to hit it. Most of us probably don't even care to have $10 million in assets, but it's always good knowing that there are certain banks that still allow you to climb up just in the case that you are ultra successful. I'm also a member with Chase Private Client. I've been with them for many, many years, and let me tell you, the benefits are fantastic. I get priority with a lot of services with Chase. If I walk into a branch and they know I'm JP Morgan Private Client, they treat me with a lot of respect. With Chase Private Client, you also get better preferred rates. So if you ever get a home, a mortgage, you get an auto loan, they're going to be able to give you some better rates than you would find at different credit unions or banks. Now, when it comes to Chase, they are one of the issuers where they're a bit more sensitive to new applicants. They prefer you to actually build your credit with someone else, and that's why Capital One Saver One is going to come clutch in that. But even after that, sometimes, depending on what your score is and your history, they still may not approve you for one of their cards. If this happens to be the case, here's an alternative that you can do in order to boost your chances of success. So Chase came out with a new product called the Freedom Rise several months back, and this is a lower tier card. You're not going to get the same full benefits as the Chase Freedom Flex, but you're going to be able to get a product with Chase. And this actually happens through you opening a checking account, linking that with your account, applying for the Freedom Rise. The way this works is that the Chase Freedom Rise card is going to give you an increased chance of approval if you get one of their checking accounts. So a checking account is generally free. There's actually a lot of different ones that you can get. Some of them, if you have no money in it, they're going to charge you a small fee. So make sure that you do your full research, but they have a lot of beginner-friendly checking accounts that you can open. Then you get the Freedom Rise card. And then from there, you can upgrade to the Freedom Flex, or later on, you can apply for the Freedom Flex again down the road so that you're able to qualify for the welcome bonus. Keep in mind, when you upgrade to certain cards, you're not eligible for the welcome bonus offer. You have to actually apply and get approved to get the welcome bonus offer, where on the Freedom Flex, it's usually around $200 as their standard rate. Unless you're someone who really doesn't care about money and you like just tossing away $200, I would definitely prioritize eventually getting the Freedom Flex, not as an upgrade, but reapplying later down once you complete the first part of the sequence. Now, if you can, I'd say a majority of you, as long as you have a score of at least 680, you should just get approved for the Chase Freedom Flex directly, but this is going to be another alternative choice for anyone who happens to get denied. From there, here's a card that is a sleeper card and a must-have essential for anyone who rents. It turns out a lot of people rent. I was renting just a few years back, and for my rent, I was paying anywhere from $2,500 in my first apartment to the last apartment when I was going month to month before my house was available for me to move in. I was paying around $4,000 to $5,000 a month in rent payments. So in a single year, I was paying about $48,000 to live in that apartment. The beauty of the Built MasterCard, which is also a newer product, it's something I wish was around back when I was paying that much rent, because it would have been free money. $48,000 of spend placed on the Built MasterCard, which is a product which has a superpower that reimburses all of your rent charge processing fee on a credit card. And they're gonna go ahead and send a check to your landlord for your apartment, where you pretty much earn free money on the rent that you have to pay anyways. So $48,000 would have been about 48,000 points, which on the most conservative side is $480 cash back that you would get per year. Now, Built also has some of the best transfer partners in in the game, I still have my Built MasterCard to this day, and I still find a ton of value. Now, if you can't get the Built MasterCard or you don't have rent to pay, a good alternative is still going to be the Chase Freedom Unlimited. This product is very similar to the Chase Freedom Flex. You would just get 1.5x unlimited on this card with a few additional added benefits. So at this point within the sequence, it should take about a few months minimum for you to get into stage number 3. And this would then segue very well, where after you've held about 1 or 2 different Chase products, you have a few other credit cards with other issuers, you've learned to pay it off in full on time, you want to then look at your first annual fee credit card. Now this year is going to be a big step, but it's not going to be your big boy card yet. The Chase Sapphire Preferred allows you to get a travel credit card without having to fully commit to one that has a high annual fee. At the time of filming this video, they have a public welcome bonus offer of earning 60,000 points, which is worth about $600 1-to-1 after spending $4,000 in the first 3 months. Chase values it on their site at a value of $750, and that's because with this card, you get access to the Ultimate Rewards portal, which gives you an automatic 25% boost on your points when you redeem it for travel. Now, the Ultimate Rewards portal is really straightforward. American Express has their own version of the American Express Membership Rewards travel portal. Capital One has their version too. And simply put, it's just like Expedia. You can go ahead and book hotels, airfare through it. You just put in your travel dates, and then it'll tell you how much it costs in cash and in points. Now, this card also gives you a ton of different benefits. It has an annual fee of $95. This means every 1 year, it's going to charge you $95 to hold this card. But if you take a look at the welcome bonus offer you get, and even just some of the different credits, like the $200 back you get, or the $50 you get in statement credits on hotels, you realize that you still have an extraordinarily high break-even fee. Now, your break-even fee on a credit card is simply the annual fee that you would pay versus the return on benefits you get. So if I pay $95 a year to hold this card, but then I get over $1,000 in free cashback, points, and more, I would subtract that full value I received from the $95 annual fee to notice that I would then get a ROI of over $900. If I wasn't able to get over $95 in benefits, then I would simply be breaking even on this card. And unless I wasn't able to get that welcome bonus offer, it's a card that I would reconsider on applying for. At the end of the day, I need to stress this. Credit cards are meant for you to get so that you can get positive ROI from. If at any time you're breaking even or you're unable to hit that welcome bonus offer, I would wait until we get to the section in this video where I go over how you can hit welcome bonus offers without spending extraordinary amounts of money or forcing yourself to overspend, which could then lead you into debt. Now, following that, this is where things get super interesting. We start touching upon these products here, and these are going to be your Chase Inc. business cards. Now, business credit cards are important for these 6 reasons. First of all, this is where you get the most amount of points through those welcome bonus offers. A lot of the times, the highest welcome bonus offers actually lies in business credit card products. The only caveat to this is that you have to spend more money in order to hit those, but like I said, we'll go over that later on in this video. For me, I own a ton of different business credit cards. I have all the Chase Inc. business cards. I have the Amex Business Platinum card and more. And if it wasn't for those cards, I wouldn't have nearly the millions of points that I would have today if business credit cards wasn't available. Number 2, certain business credit cards don't impact your personal credit. So it turns out everyone has a personal credit score, but you also have your own business credit score. With certain business credit cards, they actually don't report onto your personal credit. This here includes the Chase Inc. cards that I'm mentioning here. Because these Chase Inc. cards don't show up on your personal credit, this does not add to that Chase 524 rule, allowing you to get more Chase products within that 2-year period. The 4th reason is that you get more variety and cash back on your spend. When it comes to personal cards, they're usually the same categories. It's travel, it's food related, it's dining out, groceries, but it's with business credit cards where you can start earning cash back on a variety of different things like office stores, your phone utility bills. If you ever are running ads, you get cash back on that. It's pretty much a wider umbrella for you to get even more points on the spend that you happen to already be doing. The 5th reason is higher credit limits. When it comes to personal credit cards, when I first got started into the game, I would get credit limits of $2,000, $5,000. And it wasn't until I got my first business credit card where I was getting credit limits of $10,000, $20,000, or even $30,000. Even now, there are products where if I apply for it and I request a credit limit increase, I can see credit limits of $50,000 to even over $100,000. It's a lot easier to get higher credit limits on business credit cards because businesses usually are spending more money. Now, the 6th reason why you want to consider getting a business credit card is because you get much better organization of expenses. If you're a citizen here in the US, even if you're not, you're probably paying taxes, and there's no better way to organize your business versus your personal expense through using the right card. Now, I know most people here probably are thinking, okay, Brian, I don't even have a business, so this whole section was a waste of time. But that's actually not the case. Now, the IRS states exactly on their website what a sole proprietor is, which is someone who owns an unincorporated business by himself or herself. So sole prop will include things like freelancers, artists, actors, writers, babysitters, dog walkers, food and grocery delivery drivers, or even Facebook marketplace flippers. If you've ever done anything where you've been able to earn a little side income from, you are a sole proprietor, which falls under the umbrella term of being a business owner, which then also qualifies you for these business credit cards. So everyone, including you, can get a business credit card, even if you think you don't own a business. For me, my favorite resources, if I was to get started again and trying to get a business credit card, yet I don't have a business right now, the easiest one to get started with is going to be Rover. So I have a dog, most of you guys know. I've used Rover for people to walk my dog when I was super busy, and it's great. This would also qualify you as a business owner because when you get paid, the person who has hired you through Rover, you're then going to receive the payment from there. Now, the second is an Instacart driver. Grocery delivery driving is huge. More and more people are using services like this because they don't want to waste their time at a grocery store. So this is something that anyone can sign up to do. You also have other options where if you don't want to be physically driving, you may not have a car, you can do things that are virtual. So tutorme.com is another great resource. You can sign up to be a private tutor to teach other people your native language. If you know how to understand what I'm saying in this video, chances are you're able to tutor someone around the world to teach them the very basics of English, which would then also qualify you as being a freelancer or a business owner. Number 4, start your own blog. You can use sites like Squarespace, Wix, there's even WordPress. There's just a plethora of different resources that you can start your own blog with, and then you can get into making content, starting a coaching business, getting into affiliate marketing. By the way, these are all guides that I've made here on this channel, so definitely look them up if you want to learn more about them. And then the 5th one, we have starting an e-commerce store. It's something that I did back when I was about 21 years old. So after you picked out your business, you've gone through the options. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. So number 1, go to irs.gov and get yourself an EIN number. This is completely free. You can pick up a number at any time. Save that EIN number because that is what you're going to use when signing up for some of these different freelance sites and also for when you apply for your business credit card. Now, the second thing is to get your pay stubs and expense receipts for your business. So if I'm getting paid from Rover, obviously you want to have proof of that so that you can show Chase, hey, I'm applying for a business credit card. Here's how much I'm getting paid from Rover or from TutorMe. Here's my EIN number. Here's how much I'm projected to make this year based on how much I've done so far. And it's as easy as that. Congrats on your first business credit card. If you guys need any help through that, by the way, I have a full walkthrough service with real people called cardhunter.io. I know the act of getting a business credit card is not easy, and this is where I have my dedicated people that could also help you guys out through the process. But look, if little Brian Jung that was 20 years old could do it, I'm confident that you guys can too with all the information that exists today. So Card Hunter is one option. You can also just go ahead and watch like my ultimate business credit card guide because I go step by step even through the application process on that video. I'll have that video linked down below in the description box of this video here in case you guys are interested. So at this point, the 2 cards I'd consider getting is the Chase Ink Business Cash and the Ink Business Unlimited. Now, both of these cards have no annual fee, and in order to figure out which one you want to get, you just want to look at your own business spending habits. If you're spending a lot on office supplies, store stuff, then you may want to consider the Ink Cash card. But if your spend is all over the place and you want to keep it easy, the Chase Ink Unlimited might be better for you. At the end of the day, you'd want to just get both of these cards because they don't add to the 524 rule, and you want to keep in mind that you're able to hit those welcome bonus offers. After you get these 2 cards, I'd say get the Ink Business Preferred. This is going to have an annual fee, so keep that in mind, but you're going to get a tremendous amount of points from holding this card too. I've been holding my Ink Business cards for many years now, and these are cards that I would not consider canceling. This is because these 2 cards have no annual fees. It doesn't cost me a single thing, and even with the Ink Business Preferred card, I've been able to still break even off the spend that I do. Next here, we have the American Express Gold Card. This is one of the best dining and grocery credit cards. It's going to be your first American Express card that you can get. It has a strong welcome bonus offer, and the American Express Gold Card fits within the lineup of generally how American Express wants new applicants coming into their ecosystem. What I mean by that is they came out with a rule a few months ago where if you apply for the American Express Platinum card first, you wouldn't qualify for the American Express Gold Card welcome bonus offer. That's a whole lot of points right there that you don't want to miss out on. So the Amex Gold is actually the card that I personally got next. And aside from the Chase Sapphire Preferred card, where I was like, whoa, oh, this is my first metal card, the American Express Gold card is where I believe the love for the game really starts kicking in. Once you do that, get the welcome bonus offer. On this card, it's very straightforward too. You have to spend $6,000 in 6 months. I'm sure most people are able to do that, but I do know with some of these other cards, it's going to be a bit more work. So like I said, I'm excited for that chapter to come up. Stay tuned. So after you've had the American Express Gold card, I believe this is a great daily driver for most people. I've made a ton of different videos going over the break-even fee and how even after holding this card for many, many years, I still find positive value. You then want to consider getting your next travel credit card. Now, keep in mind, the parameter on getting this card is going to entail someone who actually takes a trip. If you have no trips planned, your budget is tight, you don't want to travel, you could go ahead and skip this step here. But I believe it's with these travel credit cards, you can accrue a ton of points and you really find the value of some of these higher end cards. So these 3 travel credit cards, it's going to be your Capital and Venture X card, your Chase Sapphire Reserve, and your Amex Platinum card. I consider these to be like the 3 Pokemon where they've evolved and they are like the steroid version. You got your Charizard, you got the turtle. Okay, I've been out of Pokemon for a while. What is it? Bulbas? No, it's not Blastoise, Venusaur. All right, your boys got it. Now, although these 3 cards are still very similar, I've managed to break it down for you. So the Capital and Venture X card is actually what I consider to be the most affordable and still has a ton of great benefits. So if you're just putting your foot into the door of all this, you got a tight budget, you keep an eye out on all your expenses, okay? And say you're like me, you go to Chipotle, you tell them hold out on the guac because you know it's actually mad expensive. Capital and Venture X, I think, is a great card for most people. I still have labeled this as one of the best credit cards for this year. The Capital One has gone ahead and just added so many jam-packed benefits for. Now, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, another great card, but I'm going to go over in a little bit why I'd hold off on this card. And if you're someone who really values like the Amex Platinum card, you get all the benefits, you know that you're going to use a Saks Fifth Avenue and all the lounge access that you get, and this is a card that you really, really want, I'd say you could also get this too. The American Express Platinum card is going to have an annual fee of $695. It's going to have the most status benefits. So with Marriott, Hilton, even at different car rental places, they're going to give you status benefits where normally people would have to spend X amount of nights at that hotel or X amount of different drives that they've done with that rental company for you to get, but you can skip all that if you hold on to this card. So as I mentioned, the cards that you may want to consider getting is going to be between the Venture X and the Platinum. I'd personally just get the Capital One Venture X. It would store very well with the original Savor One card that you have. And the Chase Sapphire Reserve, the reason why you may want to skip that is because we already got the Chase Sapphire Preferred, and there is one little rule called the Chase 48-month rule, where if you get a Chase Sapphire product within the last 48 months, you're not able to qualify for the bonus on the reserve. So what I did was I waited a full 48 months. It's about 4 years until I reapplied for the Chase Sapphire Reserve because I didn't want to miss out on those points. So instead, do this, get the Capital One Venture X card, get used to a travel card to this degree, and then get the Amex Platinum card after that. When it comes to the Amex Platinum card, you need to prioritize this. You need to make sure that you understand how to find the welcome bonus offers, because unlike the Capital One Venture X card, where usually the welcome bonus offer is stable, and by the way, on the topic of welcome bonus offers, if at any time you guys are looking to apply for a card, it could be now, it could be a year later down the road, and you remember that Brian Jung had taught you this stuff, you can use my links, which cost you nothing at all in signing up, and it allows me to continue making free content just like this. If you have family members or friends that have a card, by the way, just use our referral link so you guys can help each other out. But if you don't ever have a referral link and you want to support a channel, come back to the content I have, look up our website, use our links because it helps us out a ton. So going back to it, the American Express Platinum card actually has some limited time welcome bonus offers that you can find with different rates. So I've seen it go as high as 150,000 points that you can get back compared to the normal 80,000 points. Now this one is a bit rare. I don't see it too often. If you get this, you're very, very lucky. But what I have seen more commonly is 100,000 MR points or even 125,000 MR points by taking this few steps. So number one, check just American Express's website directly. To do this, you can go ahead and use my affiliate link down below, see if you get a better offer, and sometimes y'all get lucky. The second way is to use the card match tool, which is also linked on this PowerPoint, which I will give you guys access to down below in the description of this video. Sometimes the card match tool is going to give you that 125,000 membership reward point offer. I've seen many instances where the card match tool does give people an elevated offer on the Platinum card. Now, from those two methods, if you're unable to find the offer offer, you can always get a personal referral link from a friend or family member and check what they have. I checked my personal referral link. It still came out as 80,000 points, but your miles may vary. Someone might have a 100,000 point offer in their account. If you know they have a platinum card, it doesn't hurt to reach out. So ladies and gents, from there, we got the gold card. We've gotten one of our premium luxury travel credit cards. And from here, you're going to notice that we have some cards stacked on top of one another. This here is going to be your hotel credit card. It's also going to be your co-branded cards and your airline cards. And this is going to be completely up to you depending on the places you shop, the different hotels that you prefer to stay at, or even some of the airlines that you like riding versus others. Now, there are a ton of these different cards. I actually have the World of Hyatt card. It's a great card, and it's something I'd recommend for most people because the way these cards work is that you pay an annual fee on most of them, but you can get a benefit like getting one hotel night for free. As an example, with the World of Hyatt card, if I'm paying $95 a year to hold this card, but I can get one free hotel credit every single year, but that hotel room costs $150 or even $200, and then I get all the status that this credit card gives me, I'm getting positive value. Now, if you are a homebody, you ain't traveling that much, you may not consider a hotel card or an airline card, but other co-branded cards, like for example, Amazon might be of more value. For me, I do a lot of shopping on Amazon. I get 5% back on all my spend, and this is why I still consider co-branded cards to be a viable option, especially late game if you're looking to maximize your spend even further. After that, what you want to focus on is hitting more welcome bonus offers. At the end of the day, that small little 2 to 4x cash back you get isn't going to accrue to be much, but where you get a majority of your points is going to be through hitting welcome bonus offers consistently year round. This is how I was able to accrue those millions of points in addition to the methods that I'm going to share very soon. So at this point, you're going to have a ton of different credit cards, enough to fill up your own credit card binder, and this is going to be your foundation of having those millions of points. Following this, I'd consider getting different products. Here within my sequence, I have the American Express Business Platinum card, but it's entirely up to you. If you prefer the Blue Business Plus card or the Blue Business Cash card or anything else, this is where you choose the different cards and products that you now want to get custom to your own spend. All right, so ladies and gents, if you have made it up until this point, first of all, take a deep breath. Yes, hold that and exhale. You've made it to about the halfway point here. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and drop a like because I'm sure you got a little bit of value, hopefully from some of the stuff that we've been teaching. And going back into our credit card sequence, we have the full foundation of what we had set up. But going into it, there is one advanced strategy that I wanted to talk about here. This is not going to apply for a lot of people. And if it does, it's going to apply for you maybe 3 to 5 years later down the road. So don't forget about me in this video here. Okay, you can always save it, bookmark it, or I'm sure if you search up the Ultimate Credit Card Hacking Guide, this is still going to be the one that pops up for you. But you know, a way that you can actually go ahead and make sure you don't lose this chapter and you remind yourself is just by commenting the chapter note, because whenever you pull up the video again in the future, it's going to show up as the top comment for you to go back and click on. But right here, this is going to be a super endgame strategy, and it starts with the Hilton Aspire card. Now, this card here is very special because it's one of the only credit cards that allows you to get diamond status, which is the highest status you can get amidst a hotel without having to stay at that property for hundreds of nights. Amongst the different hotels, we got Hyatt, Marriott, Hilton, IHG. Those are going to be the main ones. Outside of that, you're going to have local boutiques, you're going to have your little Airbnbs, but those are going to be your 4 main different properties. Marriott's going to own the most amount of properties all around the world. They have a huge footprint. This means you can generally find a Marriott property all over the place. And the way hotels categorize the niceness or like the luxury of those different hotel properties is by using different categories or organizations within their system. All right, so just as an example, Marriott, they have a ton of different options. It usually is separated from one end of the spectrum where you have luxury brands, which would include things like the Ritz-Carlton or the JW or the W hotels. And it also turns out anytime you have a hotel that has the letter W, it's usually one of their nicer ones. But if you go on the other end of the spectrum, they'll call these long-term stay hotels, where they allow you to have a kitchen in there and you have more flexibility and it doesn't cost as much, but you would not see the luxury and the quality amidst the luxury brands as we just spoke about. Even with Hyatt, their hotels are separated by different categories. So you have hotel category 1 all the way to 8, and the higher the number, a category 8 hotel, would indicate that it's a much nicer hotel room. So going on their website, you'll notice that they have a Park Hyatt, a Grand Hyatt, their Hyatt Regency, and these are properties that I've stayed at all around the world, and they are very, very nice. But usually going down the list, it also depends on the area, and sometimes it could be a Hyatt house that is nicer than a Hyatt Regency. It just depends on when the hotel was also made and the upkeep story behind it. But generally, your Hyatt house is going to be detailed as in being located in urban, airport, and suburban areas with apartment style suites and full kitchens. So it really just depends on what kind of living condition you're looking for. Sometimes on my trips, I prefer to have a kitchen. I want to be cooking some ramen noodles up at midnight if I want to, rather than if I'm at a 5-star hotel and everything costs an arm and a leg. Now, we went a little bit off track, but the point I wanted to make is that with these hotels, they all have their own credit cards. Some of these credit cards have high annual fees, like the ones that we're talking about with the Chase Sapphire Reserve or the Amex Platinum, but then they have some no annual fee cards too. If you happen to be a diehard Marriott fan, you may want to consider getting the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant versus the Marriott Bonvoy Boundless, where you're not seeing too much benefit. As an example, the Marriott Bonvoy Bold card here has no annual fee, but you're not going to get nearly the same benefits as you would with the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant. The Bold card is not going to give you any benefit. You don't get any type of status as you would with some of the other cards, where even with a tier up compared to the $95 annual fee Marriott Bonvoy Boundless card, you're going to be getting 15 elite nights and then silver elite status versus even the Brilliant here. You get platinum status, you get a $100 Marriott Bonvoy property credit, you get the 1 free night award. And if you look at this, sometimes you're allowed to then redeem this night award credit for a better resort at a better category. With this card, you're also getting 25 elite night credits. You get a $300 dining credit, but it does come at an annual fee of $650. Now, if you happen to be someone who's traveling a lot, you know that you're going to be enjoying those Marriott properties, then obviously this card would make more sense. You would get positive ROI versus getting a card like the Marriott Bonvoy Bold card. Now, statuses can get a little confusing, all right? And that's because every single one of these hotels have different statuses. They have different names, they have different requirements. So with Marriott, their bottom tier status, it's called member status, anyone gets. So 0 to 9 nights. But then what we just covered was Platinum Elite status. But that is not the highest tier. The highest tier is actually Ambassador Elite or even Titanium right under that. Now, when it comes to the Platinum Elite status you get with Marriott, you can get enhanced room upgrades. This is what you want to look out for and where you can find a ton of value with hotel credit cards. There was one time where I decided to use my American Express Platinum card. I booked a room right by the Crypto.com arena for a basketball game. Crypto.com gave me free tickets to like one of those glass booths. It was cool. Met a whole bunch of other YouTubers there. But the hotel that I stayed at right by that property was a Ritz-Carlton under Marriott. I booked through the American Express Fine Hotel Resorts program. For that room, I was able to get a presidential suite at no cost. If you're wondering how I was able to do that and how you could do something similar, it's by getting one of these premium tier cards. So I had the Platinum card, and that gave me access to the American Express Fine Hotel Resorts collection. Usually, if I don't know where to stay, I'm gonna open up this portal first, because these hotels, when they see that you book through a portal like this, they're more inclined to give you those room upgrades. Now, I paid for a base room. It would have been about $300-400 a night off season, and their presidential suites were anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 or more per night. It was a huge room. And when I showed up and they gave me that presidential room for 3 nights, right there, I'm calculating value. If it's $2,000 per night, that's $6,000 in total. And with the Platinum card, it just paid for itself. This year was not the only time I got an upgrade. I've gotten an upgrade many different times using different hacks that I've talked about all across my channel here. The most recent time I went to the Wynn in Las Vegas, and we got one of the nicest suites that I've ever stayed in. This room was unbelievable. Everything was controlled by the iPad. And when I looked up the base rate, it was a couple $1,000s again per night, even though we had only been awarded a free base hotel room. For that, we did the Brian Jung patented credit card sandwich hack. Now, it sounds crazy. It's not. Okay, so literally all you do is you fold a $20 bill in between your ID and your credit card. You hand it to them. They know exactly what that means. You give them a tip, and they'll go ahead and upgrade your room. Now, if you're feeling very generous, you can do multiple $20. But even for me, giving that $20, where I like tipping other people within the service industry, I know how hard it is, and I know how blessed I am for me to be able to do YouTube and stuff like this. If I can give money to people who need it or people who are deserving of it, I always will. So I did it, and that actually led to a even more favorable outcome. I got a huge hotel room upgrade. It made the experience so great, and it was actually at a time when I was staying at Vegas. NBA Summer League was happening, so all these NBA players around me, literally was sitting behind Steph Curry. That was amazing, and I think it's just the momentum of you you scoring like an upgraded room that you didn't think you would even get builds upon just such an amazing experience. So this is all stuff that you guys can do, okay? If you are ever checking into a hotel, this works well when you're in Vegas. New York, not so much, just because those rooms tend to be booked up. But if you're going to high tourist destinations, it never hurts to always carry extra cash on you and to tip the person who's going to determine what room that you stay in. So if you go to Vegas, try that out, guys. Let me know if that ever works. Just post about it on your story. Give me a shout out. I'll repost you on my story. But things like that, I'm so glad that I learned at an earlier age, because that has worked for me many, many times. And a lot of people don't realize it's something that you guys can all do, even if you don't have a lot of money. So all this stuff is really important. That's because under the umbrella of travel, it's really two main things. It's hotels and airlines. And when it comes to both of them, it's a lot easier getting free hotel room upgrades than it is to get a free first class flight every single time that you ride the airplane. This is because hotel credit cards just have those statuses that you can get, and a lot of hotels really do give you benefits if you are loyal with them. That's because the whole hotel industry is so competitive right now, where if you are hopping from one place to another, a hotel company is going to make more money if you are loyal to them. You show them that allegiance, and then they give you that upgrade, making you want to stay with them even more. So if you can, start building a relationship with a hotel earlier. Find ones that you like. In the beginning, I've tried Hyatt, Marriott. I personally love Hyatt the most, but they're not as accessible. They're not always everywhere. Second up for me would be Marriott, and then it would be Hilton. Now, this leads us back into our PowerPoint where we're going over the super endgame strategy. This is advanced level stuff here. It's going to sound a little confusing, but it's going to be super easy once I break it down with this actual visual that I made. And that's all because with the Hilton Honors Aspire card, which they recently revamped, it didn't look like this before. It has an annual fee of $550. You get 14x points when you are using it on their hotels and resorts, but you get complimentary diamond status. A complimentary diamond status will give you 100% bonus on base points you earn on every stay. You get premium Wi-Fi and space available room upgrades at select properties. So generally, when Hilton sees that you pull up and they say, hey, do you have membership with us? And you tell them, yeah, I have diamond status, and that is the highest status you can get, they are the most inclined to give you an upgrade if they have one available. Now, this doesn't work every single time, but there are things that you can do to help increase your odds. So the sandwich trick that I mentioned, do that. Stack that with before going to the trip and you're going there for like a special occasion. Hey, this is my honeymoon. Hey, this is my 1 year trip that I'm doing. Hey, I'm here to celebrate this. Hey, my birthday's coming up. Hey, my anniversary's coming up. Email the hotel chain, see if you can get access to the manager, and then they can put a note in your system which can further enhance the opportunity of you getting a better hotel room. So those are little tips. I love the Hilton Aspire card for several reasons though, and that's because they have many different card products, but they do something special. They give you something called an upgrade bonus. So how does this all work? Well, with the Hilton Aspire card, apply for it, get approved for it. Off the chance you do get approved, you would then want to wait 5 days. This is because American Express has a rule where they'll only approve you for one card every 5 days. Now, the reason why there's all these little rules, even like Chase 524 that we've talked about several times, is because a lot of these issuers don't want people to be gaming the system and just racking up points as you do. So a lot of these rules are made in place so that it's a bit more steps and you're not taking full advantage. And there's also a layer of protection that the banks want for themselves too. But this isn't going to hold us back because these are still workarounds that are very easy to play with. So after waiting 5 days, what I would recommend is to apply for the Hilton Surpass card. Keep in mind, even with the Hilton Surpass card, you're gonna start getting some annual fees. This here is a $150 annual fee, but you're trading that with the opportunity to get even more points with Hilton. Their welcome bonus at the time of filming this video is getting 170,000 Hilton Honors bonus points after you spend $3,000 in purchases within the first 6 months. A lot of you guys might assume that 170,000 points is a lot, but it really isn't, and the only exception is with hotels. And this is because hotel point valuations continue to go down every single year. There's even a website that started blowing up a few years back where it's called bondvoid.com, where if you got like bamboozled, this is the version of that between Marriott Bonvoy's program where you can report it here with others, where in some instances you have status and they don't acknowledge it, or other instances where you stay in a really weird hotel room. This is a place where people are going to vent. So you're going to see a lot of the worst case scenarios. Generally, for all the trips that I've had 99% good experiences at all these places, but that's just not the case when you're dealing with thousands of properties all around the world. Now, Bond Void first came about because the point redemptions were not that good. Now it's evolved into something a little bit other than that. But know this, credit card points seem to be going down in value just a little bit every year, or issuers are at least trying to make it a little bit harder for you to get that best redemption possible. This is why it's always good to have a game plan, or at least knowing your dream destination of what you actually want to do and accomplish with your points. Now with the Hilton card, 170,000 points is not worth one-to-one generally, because you have to spend it at a Hilton property. And it turns out these Hilton properties are a little overpriced. Now I'm not talking about cash value. Say a hotel at Hilton, in Hawaii is $300 a night. Okay. It's a little expensive, but it's still rather reasonable. On a 1 point to 1 cent redemption, that $300 means it should be 30,000 points. Well, it turns out Hilton increases the cost of what the points would be. So instead of it being 30,000, it would probably cost you $70, $80, $90,000 for a $300 room, making your points worth a lot less. So don't get fooled by these huge offers, but also take what I'm saying with a grain of rice. In the Korean world, we call it grain of pop. All right. A little bit of grain of pop. That's because you can still find some discounted rooms. You could find places that are brand new, they're opening, they're off season, and you do get a much higher point valuation on what it's worth. The best way to go about all this is to reverse engineer the process. Find some of your dream destinations. Some places that I want to go is like the Maldives, like those overwater bungalows. Well, it turns out Hilton actually has some really great properties. And it turns out if you book a base rate property that is not overwater, but then you happen to get an upgrade using the Hilton Aspire Card's diamond status, and you go there. So then what happens is you automatically just bump up the value of your points significantly, because you went from a base rate room, not over the water, to a overwater bungalow that you would have to spend thousands of dollars on. Now, either way, points is still all worth money. This doesn't mean it's worthless. You just need to find the hotels, see how much they're worth during the specific time you want to go, and then you can use your points to redeem that travel, and that's still free money. From what I say here, you want to then wait 90 days. This is because American Express is only going to approve you for max 2 cards every 90 days. They don't want people to apply for all of their cards all at once. On the 90th day, once you're super endgame, you've taken care of all your other American Express cards, the ones that you want, and there's a lot of them. We only went through just the foundational few that I personally like, but you have the green card, the BBP, the BBC. I mean, you got a lot of different great products. Within this setup, you'd want to then go for the Hilton Honors Card. What you want to do is get the welcome bonus on all 3 cards. Hold all 3 cards for 1 year. Then you can downgrade your Hilton Aspire and your Surpass to your Honors, and this is going to leave you with 3 Hilton Honors Cards. When you get a Hilton Honors upgrade email, use it. The maximum end game here is owning 3 Hilton Aspire cards. So what this means is you have the Hilton Honors, the Hilton Surpass, and eventually the Hilton Aspire. This here is a more conservative approach. There are different ways to do this. This is going to be like your super aggressive approach, but generally getting the Hilton Honors Card, if you hold on to it, you're going to get an email offer at some point. Okay, we don't know when it clicks, but people get upgrade offers. This means they'll say, hey, Billy, it's time for you to upgrade your Hilton Honors Card. Would you like to upgrade it to the Hilton Surpass? If you do this, we're going to give you X amount of points on that card. If you do this in the right manner, you're then able to accrue over 1 million points with Hilton, which could be a great trip really anywhere around the world, especially once you have that status and you know how to utilize all the other upgrades. So Hilton Surpass got a little bit of an annual fee. If you can upgrade that, you'll have the Hilton Aspire Card. Before you upgrade it though, you want to actually apply for the Hilton Aspire so you get the welcome bonus offer. Now the welcome bonus offer you get on a card is different than the upgrade offer. Usually the upgrade offer is significantly less, but you don't have to spend as much money either. Now, if you want to be super aggressive, this is a strategy where it's going to leave you with multiple Hilton Aspire cards. At the end of it, if you're holding 3 Hilton Aspire cards, you might be wondering, well, Brian, why would I hold that many? Why would I have up to $1,500 and more in annual fees at a single hotel branch? And my answer to that is, well, you shouldn't, unless you're going to be utilizing the benefits. Now, from my strategy, we talked about working your way up from bottom to top, but there is one consideration that you want to make. If you do get an offer to upgrade your credit card and you happen to take it, you're not going to qualify for the welcome bonus offer, because the welcome bonus offer, according to the fine print, is limited to people who apply for that card for the very first time. You cannot upgrade into it and then apply for it and then get another offer. So what people would like to do, and the 2.0 version is actually starting here, getting the Hilton Aspire card first, because the lower newer cards might offer upgrade bonuses at one point, and you don't want to eliminate your chances at getting the higher card sign up. So why would you want 3 Hilton Aspire cards? It sounds a little overkill. Well, let's break it down. At the end of the day, if it can give you positive ROI, it's something that may make sense. So with these 3 cards, you can get 3 free night rewards on each cards. That is valued at a minimum of $1,200 if those hotel nights are $300 cash value. Now, there's a chance that those hotels could be worth a lot more. There are things like we just talked about where you can go off season, where you can get a room upgrade, where it ends up being just worth more from the little things that you guys do following this video. Second reason, you get hotel resort credits. So if you like getting massages, spas, if you like, hydrotherapy, whatever it is, if you like eating at very amazing places on some of these hotel resorts, then this is usually what qualifies and goes towards that. Not only that, you're also going to get a $200 annual flight purchase credit. Now, the umbrella of what qualifies underneath this is pretty wide, but generally with in-flight purchases, with getting Wi-Fi or getting food and drinks. So if you're traveling a lot, maybe with a family, or you're redeeming it for other essential things that you find on a flight, this is another credit back. So if we go ahead and add all of that, it's at minimum $3,000 if you're able to find value from all 3 of them. And if you subtract that from the annual fee, you're still getting over $1,350 in value. So that's just an example of like end game stuff, guys. It's not too well known that other issuers like Marriott or even Hyatt or IHG have enough cards where you can do this and you get upgrade offers. But for Hilton, this has been a known system that a lot of experts do towards the end game of their credit card journey. So now that we've wrapped it up, what's the final play? What should you be looking out for at this point? Well, it's these 5 points that I've really focused on in the last few years that have still allowed me to find excitement within the game. So number 1, get all your core cards. Those are the ones that we talked about. It may take you 2 to 3 years to do this. If you're a high spender, you may be able to do it in a very short period of time. The quickest I've gone in applying for new cards at a time is 1 month. I did that this past year. I was fine. I never got rejected once. And I went from getting the Built card, we got the Capital One Venture X card, we got the Chase Sapphire Reserve card. I know there's one slip in my mind, but there was a period where we were getting them back to back to back. Number 2, if you come end game, you're going to have over 1 million points. If you complete all of that, you're hitting your spend and you're going to do what I'm about to tell you soon. You're going to have well over 1 million points and the ladies are going to start flocking to you. That's just a byproduct, by the way. It's going to happen. They're going to come flocking over to you like flies on a turd. And when that happens, don't let them take all your points, okay? Stick to the plan. Number 3, don't forget about issuers from stores, credit unions, and banks. I kept sleeping on credit unions. I said, you know what? American Express, Chase, they're the best. They're the ones I want to stick with. I ain't going to go with these other issuers. But it turns out these credit unions are pretty good too. I recently picked up a Navy Federal account. Actually, that's another card that I got. And when you get a welcome bonus, that's still free money. Don't sleep on them. This is where you can accrue even more value towards the latter half of the game. Number 4, this is easy mode. This is what I do right now. And I personally like building all my assets in Chase. So having my checking account with Chase, having my main like mortgage, auto loan, things like that. If they're able to give me good rates, I will put that with Chase, build my relationship with them. Because at this point, I was able to get private client like 3-4 years back. And I know for you guys watching, you're on the path of financial success. And I'm so confident if you guys are willing to do all the things that I've said, even in this video, you're someone who takes finances seriously. And statistically, I believe you guys are some of the best suited people in order to qualify for private client, which is having over $200,000 in assets with them. So I like building my nest egg with just one bank. Okay. If you happen to go with 4 or 5 different neobanks, it's a headache to keep track of. If one of them gets hacked, it's just a lot going on. But double down on security on just one bank, commit to that bank, build a good relationship with them. And currently what I do during a season where I'm not working on welcome bonus offers, it's a little bit more slow on my end. I just put all my spend on American Express because I get some of the best purchase protection. The customer service really looks out for me. I love their interface in organizing my expenses. They give you pie charts, they break it down. And then I know that Chase is where all the money comes in. I think that's easy mode. Okay. When you get to a point, you have 20, 30 plus credit cards, you don't want your money in all these different places. And you don't want to be carrying around a binder with you. For me, my daily drivers is the American Express Gold card right now. It's the American Express Platinum card. And I was recently working on the Chase Sapphire Reserve. And on the first of the month, I'll use my Built MasterCard because all the benefits get doubled, which is also very nice. And for my catch-all card, I'll either use my Freedom Flex, my Freedom Unlimited, or even my Chase Ink Unlimited card. So once you do that, here's the benefit. You can get invited to a Final Boss credit card. This is like the Exodia piece. It's like a legendary card. Most likely, you're not going going to be seeing one of these, especially if you're working within the service industry. And that's because not many people have these elite tier cards. This is the American Express Centurion card. This here is the JP Morgan Reserve card. For the JP Morgan Reserve card, you need over $10 million in assets for you to qualify for this. It's very similar to the Chase Sapphire Reserve, but it is a prestigious flex card that is invite only. The American Express Centurion card, even if you are a baller, say you have $10 million in your bank account, they will not give you this card just because you have money. You have to spend over $200,000 to $500,000 depending on where you live, depending on the type of year it is, for you to maybe get invited to this card one day. Even after that, there's an initiation fee of $10,000 and an annual fee of $5,000. And the benefits on this, it is pretty crazy. Some of the stuff you get. We're not going to go into detail here, but we've made multiple videos reviewing the Centurion card, but it is some cool stuff. If you've ever wondered what it's like to live like a billionaire and have a concierge service, think about Batman where he calls Alfred for anything he needs. That's pretty much what you get access to. If you need to go to a restaurant and they're completely sold out, the Amex Centurion customer service somehow finds a way to do it. If you're trying to get tickets to a sold out Taylor Swift concert for the best seats in the house, somehow the Centurion service line is able to do it. It's one of those things that your average person will never need. It is really not valuable, but when you get to that level, it is pretty cool to see and to experience and to have. And I know, like I said, you guys are all capable of seeing that. And it's always nice to have these goals, even if you think right now it's not possible, you just never know. All right, so now what? We've covered a lot of credit cards, the elite tier cards, the basic cards, the foundational cards, hotel cards, literally all of them, okay? Now what? Well, you need to learn how to redeem your points for higher value. So to do this, you have two methods, reward portals and transfer partners. Transfer partners are where you're gonna find the most amount of value, but it is going to take a bit more work. The reason why these are of high value is because it's not easy getting a good transfer redemption. You have so many different airlines you need to transfer your points to. You have so many different hotels you could do it to. There are always conditions. Some are worth more than others. There are different peaks. There are different destinations. There's a huge variety of different factors. And this could take even just a couple hours of research for you to find a decent redemption. But I'll go over a way that you can shortcut it, that you can save all the time and effort, but still get the same outcome. But just know that transfer partners is where you can find very high value. I put 1 cent to 10 cent. I've seen it go even higher than that. I've seen it go as high as even 25 cents for a very good redemption. And this happens when you're trying to get business class or first class flight tickets. So an example is I'm going to Korea again. And the first class tickets on that is generally $30,000. It's insane. The point equivalent of that, 1 point to 1 cent, is 3 million points. Now say I really want to take first class. By the way, there's usually not a huge difference with some of these flights between first and business. They're both very nice, but there are some first class flights that are extremely just out of the world. You get like your shower, you get a private area. I mean, it can be very crazy. For me, I don't need that level of crazy. Even just a business class flight where you can lay down for your 14-hour flight just sounds very nice to me. Now, regardless, if I was trying to get a first class flight, what I would do is book an economy flight ticket through Korean Airlines. Say it costs just $1,000 in cash. When I get to a point where it says, hey, do you want to upgrade your seat for cash or for points? Sometimes it might say, oh, if you want to upgrade your flight with cash, it's going to be $29,000. Or it'll say, hey, you know what? It's only just going to be like 500,000 points instead of 3 million. When you do the math on that, you realize, oh, wow, the redemption is there. And that's where you can find significant outsized value. It's from getting upgraded business class flight seats or first class flight seats. And on the rare occasion, it's where you can just book directly with some of these airlines. You get a regular first class seat. You don't have to go through the upgrade offer and wait for availability because sometimes they're not available either. Sometimes you just wait. And then a few days before the flight actually takes off, they'll be like, okay, the upgrade is available, first come, first serve. Do you want to book it now? And it's a little bit stressful because you're not guaranteed that seat either. So that is just the value of transfer partners. It takes a little bit more work, but it can be very worthwhile. All right, so we'll use American Express as an example for this. But if you just go on Amex Travel Transfer Partner, you're then going to be able to pull up these calculators and see how long it takes for you to transfer those points, the minimum amount of what those points can be transferred to, and where it's going to get sent. There's going to be a lot of different airlines. These are going to get more recognizable as you start traveling even more. Delta, obviously US domestic, but if you wanted to fly somewhere really nice, Emirates, British Airways has some really nice flights. Etihad, I know, has some great stuff. Flying Blue. ANA is where you can find a ton of value too. But like I mentioned, a big tip is just reverse engineering the trip that you want to take. So all you would do, it's actually very simple. You would find out how much points you have and you just click on transfer my points. All right, so an example that I found of a flight going from the San Francisco area all the way into Japan. was this. Okay, this is Japan Airlines first class. This flight is normally worth more than $20,000 round trip, but by going online, finding some of these deals, and at a specific moment, I was able to see that this same flight was worth 80,000 points instead. In order to book this, you would just go on American Airlines website, you would go to select redeem miles, and then you just transfer whatever points you have to Marriott Bonvoy, and then transfer that over into American Airlines. Now, in essence, it sounds pretty easy, but let me just take you through where the work really lies. So when you're booking a trip, you would just type in the destination of where your airport is departing from and where you're going to, and you can search it up. Obviously, you put in the date of whenever you want to travel, you let it load up, and you're going to get some quotes on what flights are going to cost. Now, this is all cash related stuff, but if you're trying to use your points, you want to go up into this tab here and find where you can book with miles. From here, you can then look into the Miles Finder map or even Award Travel. What I just talked about in upgrading your seat, upgrade with miles, upgrade with miles on partner airlines, this is where you're going to look for that. Pick wherever your airport is coming from. All right, I'm in that DC area here. Say I just want to ride business first class. Here is a flight to Miami. There's a return date. I'll let this search in. And before you do all that, you can click right here, this little checkbox, redeem miles. So now instead of the cash price, it's actually going to show you the points price. And sometimes you're going to find some pretty surprising results. Now, not all airlines are going to make it this accessible, but even American Airlines has it on their website where you can look on a calendar view of some of the lowest prices for this month, but they're also just going to tell you right here straight up if it's the lowest price in terms of the point value. Now, it's from here, you got to figure out what different points you have which can transfer over. I'll use a site like Award Hacker. I'll put in that same type of flight in here, and it's going to go ahead and tell me the different points that are compatible because not all points transfer to different partners. So if you have a ton of American Express points, sometimes you may not be able to transfer it over. There are other instances though, if you are able to transfer it to say Marriott, and then Marriott allows you to transfer it over to them, that's where the transaction can work. So through the process, this is what it's going to look like. Just transfer your points to whatever frequent travel program that you have selected. So just as an example, you have Award Hacker. Mine's not loading right now, but it would give you a whole list of different transfer partners that you have. I also like using different flight deal alerts. There is a ton of different ones that exist. And some of them are great because every week or even every day, I'll hear about some flight deals of how much it costs with points, where I can book, what dates are available, what seats are available, and they're gonna do a majority of the legwork for you. What I also like is a lot of them can tell you how to book. So go on to the website, click this, click that, hit this. I mean, this has even 12 steps before you can even get to the place where you actually book your trip. So if you feel like this is something overwhelming and difficult, just know that there are many other resources that are available today. Now, I'm on a ton of different flight deal alert pages. I've subscribed to many of them, paying hundreds of dollars a month just so that I know some of the best deals coming. If you guys are interested in me aggregating all that data so you guys don't have to pay hundreds of dollars and you pay me like $10, $20, look guys, this is just the basics of business, right? It makes sense. You're still gonna save money, but you're gonna have access to all the flight deals possible. Let me know if you'd be interested in that. In my mind, it sounds like a good idea because I'm just providing you guys value, but I know the complications of that and it may not be the most ethical type of business either. But for me, I just want to find a way for you guys to get as much value as possible. And whatever it is, if I'm using some of these flight deal alerts and I'm able to find an affiliate, I will link them down below in the description of this video for you guys to check out as well. In the meantime, if you're just in the stage though, where you're collecting a lot of points and you're not planning to do a lot of travel, not for at least a year or two, I'd probably hold off because you can save that money for when you are actually looking to book a flight. Now, these services I think are still very worth it if you value your time or if you're just unable to come across any good redemptions. I know it's one thing when you know the skill and you're able to do this without thinking twice, but I know as a beginner, there's just a lot of complications. It can be intimidating at the start. So even finding a consultant who can walk you through getting a good redemption, I still personally find a lot of value because if you're able to get that first class flight that costs you $30,000, but you pay just $500 and then you pay them $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever it's worth, ROI is clearly still there. All right, the next way that you can redeem your points is through using a reward portal. Now, reward portals are very easy. So start out with this, just look up the travel portal on Google, plug it in, make sure it's the actual website so you guys don't lose all your information and lose all your points. From here, I'm on the Chase Ultimate Rewards portal. It's basically like their version of Expedia. And if I want to go ahead and book a hotel, I just click on this here. It's from here, it's going to open up another page and it's going to tell me that my 1,188,000 points are worth $17,831 towards any kind of travel. Your boy wants to go to Japan. Let's put that in. Let's do it for sometime in April. Let's do one adult and let me search. It's as easy as that in being able to redeem your points. So right here, it's going to tell me the cashback value, but it's also underneath that going to tell me how much it's worth in points. I'm looking at some of the hotels. It's going to give me a lot of great hotels. And right here with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, it's going to pull up the luxury hotel collection benefit. This is very similar to what American Express has with their Fine Hotels Resort Collection Program. And it says that I get automatic free benefits, daily breakfast for two, welcome gift, room upgrade, $100 property credit, complimentary Wi-Fi, early check-in, late checkout. And then from here, I can book on how much it costs. So 5 nights would cost me 12 grand, or it would cost me 843,000 points. Now this is actually not too terrible. So 12,654 would be worth about 1.2 million points. So I am getting a bit of a better redemption than if it was just 1-to-1, but there are much better redemptions out here. This is just an example of how easy it is to get outsized value on your points. Now hotels, I think, is where you're gonna find the most value because of the upgrades. Like I said, with flights, you're not gonna be seeing as easy as it is there. But if I wanted to go from DCA, Japan, say I'm going soon. In the same way as I was able to see the hotel rate and what the point equivalent was, you're going to be able to see that right here. So booking through a travel portal is really good, but you don't even have to always book for travel either. It turns out you can put your points to many different kind of things, private island resorts, or even taking a cruise or renting a car with it. Now, don't sleep on this. Don't sleep on cash back. A lot of people think cash back is a complete waste of money, but this is where I'd say it really just depends. This is because if you pull out your cash, you decide you don't want to travel with it, but then you invest that cash into the market and then you are able to turn it into a 10x return where you get $100,000. From the $10,000 you get all for free, I'd say that's worth way more because you can then use all that money to get even more flights possible. Now, I'd say this here is a bit more of a hypothetical situation, but I just want to emphasize that travel is not your only option. I personally feel like this is definitely a decent way to go. Pulling out all your points, using that to invest into a venture, putting that into a business that can make you even more money over time than just even fighting to get that 5 to 10 cent redemption, which also doesn't happen all the time. It's still possible, but I'd say this money can go an even longer way. At the end of the day, don't complicate it. The term that we use within the whole credit card space is YMMV, which is your miles may vary. So now that you know how the game works, you understand how to redeem your points for maximum value, and you understand that cash is not always so bad, we're now going to dial in on the 4 other lessons here in this video, which is number 1, how to get approved for any credit card. Just because if you apply, it doesn't mean you'll always get approved. There were times where I got denied for a credit card and then I had to use this method in order to reverse that decision. I'm also going to go over how you can increase your credit score because this is fundamentally the biggest reason why people will get denied and how you can get much better benefits and get approved for more cards and get better rates on different programs like your mortgage and your auto loan or even a business loan down the line. We're also going to go over how you can accrue more points. I was teasing this up for so long within this PowerPoint and we're finally going to go over that. And then number 4, I'm going to share with you how I was able to Lambo with credit cards, okay? So first of all, if you want to get approved for any credit card, be sure to use reconsideration lines. Whenever you apply for a credit card, it is a computer algorithm that automatically decides if you get approved or denied. But algorithms do not take into consideration real world situations. So if you're dealing with a financial mess that you took care of 5 years ago, but it's still impacting your credit score, this is where you can call up the reconsideration line, talk to a person and see if they can reverse that decision. Now, if that person is saying, no, we can't do anything, the algorithm is right, you do something called hookah, hang up, call again. Now, I'd rinse and repeat this no more than 5 times. Maybe you'd want to wait a day after that so that they don't flag your account. But I'd just say if you did it 5 times and they're not approving you, they're probably not going to approve you. The good thing out of any of this is that when you do get declined for a credit card, the bank will always send you a letter in the mail telling you exactly why. So sometimes your history is too low. Sometimes you've just applied for too many credit cards and those are easy fixes. Okay. Just wait a little bit of time, reapply. And it turns out you can probably get approved then. Just keep in mind, if you ever get denied or they need more information, it is not the end all be all. I've seen the recon line come in clutch so many different times. Here on your screen are going to be the numbers to them. You can also verify it by looking up the directory on their website, which I always recommend you guys to do. Okay. Always double check because when it comes to finances and credit cards, you never want to have any of your information leaked to someone who's posing as one of these banks. Now, if you do want to get approved for any credit card, it's literally as simple as making sure that you have a good score. The highest score you can get is an 850. And to get an 850 credit score, it's also very simple. So number one, pay off your credit cards in full and on time. When you get a new credit card, you can actually set the auto pay date. And sometimes if you have it set like even a few days after, it's going to report the utilization on your credit score, which makes up a large chunk. And more specifically, it's going to make up 30% of your credit score, which is a big amount. So I encourage you guys to turn on the auto pay, but do it on an earlier date than when the statement balance is reported. Now, every credit card has a different date. Okay. You can look this information up online. But for me, as an example, with my Chase Sapphire Reserve, I had it set to the 16th of the month. And then I kept noticing my utilization was rather high when I was using that card. I went ahead and I switched it so it just pulls it out at the first of the month. I make sure I don't overspend and I always have enough money to be able to pay off my cards, and you're going to see your score increase very fast. Now, if you have a bad score, it's because you have some type of credit card debt. So in order to solve that, you need to find ways to cut down on the spend that you're doing. Start budgeting, start using apps. I use things like Rocket Money. I also just use basic budgeting templates. I also like to take a look at my expenses and see where I can cut down or where I can add income. There's no point in cutting down your spend to near zero if, first of all, you're not going to survive if you do that. You still got to eat and pay for utility, rent, whatever it is. But most importantly, if you don't have active income coming in, it's going to be very difficult for you to pay off any kind of balance. So make sure that you pick up a side hustle, start a business, pick up second shifts at work, stay at work longer if you need to, ask for a raise at the hospital you've been working at for a very long time. Another little life hack here is you can always call the banks and they have a department where they can work with you. They can lower the interest rate. They can put you on a payment plan. They can literally give you the tools and set you up for success, but you need to put in the work. Don't be buying things that you don't need, because credit at the end of the day is a tool that if you want to be able to find value from, you got to be disciplined in the spend that you have. Before you do all that though, you need to monitor your credit history. A lot of companies are going to charge money to do this, but if you sign up for some of these cards, they're going to give you access to monitor your score for free, but they're not going to give you the full picture because there are three main credit bureaus. So like we said, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. If you want to see all of them for free, use annualcreditreport.com. I'm not sponsored or affiliated with them anyway. This is actually what the FTC encourages people to use. This is literally vetted by the government. It's annualcreditreport.com. You can get a free report, but if you do it, I believe more than a few times within a year, that's when they'll start charging you. But you only need it once to get a full detailed idea on what it is. Now, from here, when you get your full credit report, this is where you got to do a little bit of work, because it turns out a lot of credit bureaus make a ton of mistakes. The statistic was not a couple thousand mistakes they do here and there. It's millions of mistakes that they make. Now, the liability is usually not with the credit bureaus for them to do an internal audit, to, find their mistakes and tell you, oh, we messed up, so let's take this off for you. You need to go ahead and take initiative to dispute any negative inquiries or mistakes that they made on your account. So if you've always paid off your credit card, but then there's 1 month where one issuer is like, oh, you didn't pay off, but you did, that is something that you can dispute. So in the US, when you dispute an inquiry, they must respond back to you. They must remove it, or they're going to give you evidence that it is indeed correct. To dispute something, it's actually very simple. There's a lot of templates that you can use online, but even right now for me, ChatGPT comes in clutch. Put in the information, put in the prompt. Hey, I'm looking to dispute this error on my Equifax credit report. It was on this day. Help me write a letter that's going to help me to win this case. You then get it, you put it in a Word document, you fold it up, and you mail it over to them, and you should hear back within a 1 to 2 month period. Sometimes it could be quicker, but generally it does take 30 to 60 days for you to get any kind of response. Now, all this is going to help because, like we said, you need to know what makes up your credit score. This is, at the end of the day, okay, 5 factors. But if you just focus on paying off your card on time, having no kind of credit card debt, you're going to see your credit score go over 720. Anything above 720 is good. You're going to get some of the best interest rates possible. And if anyone is flexing an 850 credit score, the difference between 720 to 850 is simply the length of history, okay? Now, types of credit is also going to affect it about 10%. So this could be student loans. It could be the auto loan. It could be a mortgage and you paying it off on time. Now, I know that's like the boring answer, but there is is indeed, yes, a fix to everything. So first of all, there are a ton of different apps where they'll help you build your credit anytime you pay things like your bill that you're doing anyways on time. Your credit score is just your report card. And if you're able to show like, hey, I'm paying my water and utility bill on time every single month, they can use that to help build your credit score as well. Another way to increase your score fast is by doing the piggybacking method. Take this image here of my wifey on my shoulders, picking her little apples on her apple farm trip back last year, where I'm carrying her with my good credit, and with someone, say she has bad credit, I'm able to give her good credit. And to do that, you add them as an authorized user on your account. So this is only going to work where if the authorized user who adds you on their account has good credit too. Now, to add someone as an authorized user on your account, it is very simple. You literally pull up your credit card, whichever issuer you're with, and it's going to say, do you want to add an authorized user? You put in their name, their social security number. You don't even have to give them the credit card. They don't have to ever spend it. You can cut it up, but automatically from what your credit score has, you're going to be transferring that data, that history, the benefits of your hard work over to them. So if you yourself are struggling with credit, find a family member who has an 850 credit score, something that's really high, and see if they can add you as an authorized user. It costs nothing for them. It takes them 2 or 3 different clicks, but you're going to start seeing an increase on your credit score the next month, because if they have even like $200,000, say, of credit on your account, their history is going to get reflected onto you. Then your credit score goes up, and this is the easiest way to do that. Your score is going up. You're getting approved for different cards. Well, how can you accrue even more points? Because the thing is, a lot of these cards require you to spend a lot of money that I know people, in this current weird economy right now with inflation up, it can be a little difficult. So number one, when it comes to welcome bonus offers, maximize these 2 strategies. Pay your taxes. So if you go on irs.gov, you're able to pay your taxes with a credit or a debit card. So obviously this is where you want to use a credit card. It'll tell you the fees and what they're going to charge you. And if you click on this, it's going to bring a website. So I've used PayUSA Tax for many, many, many years, but there are going to be different sites like Pay 1040. These are all directly affiliated with the IRS. And if you're paying even a tax bill of $3,000 to $5,000 for the money that you made on that year, this is an easy way for you to hit that welcome bonus offer. All right, second option here. If you are into business, this is going to be huge. So Melio is a recent app and product that I got introduced. Where this app comes into play is where you can use any credit card to pay a vendor for an expense that you have. So for me, the official wedding celebration that I have is coming up, and a lot of the vendors want to get paid by Zelle, or they want to get paid by PayPal. Zelle and PayPal allow you to pay with credit cards too, but they tack on a huge fee. So sometimes it's just not worth it unless you're going for the welcome bonus offer and your ROI is there. But if you're trying to get like 1x cash back, but you're paying 4% in fees, obviously it doesn't match up. Now, something like Melio allows you to pay vendors in a similar way with your credit card. Now, just check what the pricing is. It could be lower, it could be higher, depending on what other services you might have geared towards. This here is just another option where you can use your credit cards to pay someone, they could cash it in, and this is where you can accrue your points. What I'll say is this: do not try to game the system. I know some of you guys might think, oh, Brian, well, what if I do this and I put in another account that's not affiliated with me, like my cousins, and then I have them send me cash and then I do it again? No, do not do that. That is something that we are highly against because it can lead to account shutdowns. Okay, this was a thing of the past where 4 or 5 years ago, people were doing something called MSing, okay, manufacturer spend. I do not recommend it. I do not encourage it. I recommend that all of you guys stay far away, because if you want to make money from credit cards, you can do this without having to cheat or game the system in this capacity, and this clearly breaks the terms and conditions that credit card issuers set. So please avoid doing that. Another way that you can earn a ton of points, this is through referral bonuses. So this is something I got into way before even doing YouTube. I would tell my friends at the time, hey, there are some credit cards. Just make sure that you're not putting yourself in credit card debt, but if you want to sign up for this card, you're getting these benefits. I have this card here, and boom, you're able to get these pretty high welcome bonus offers that add up really quick. Now, the one downside is that these issuers, they will limit the amount of total points that you can get per year. So if you have a lot of friends and family members, you're going to get capped out. Now, even if you do, you're still able to get a ton of points. Just as an example, chasing cards, you can earn up to 200,000 points. That's $2,000 in referrals. You can earn up to $500 cash back per year with the Chase Freedom cards, and even up to 75,000 points per year with the Chase Sapphire Preferred. Now, referring people can be really easy. Some of you guys are going to be very natural at it because credit cards cards are just a great product if you know how to use it right. You could literally send them my video here today, tell them watch this video, and then you give them the referral link to your card to sign up for. Another way you could do it is use social media for more reach, okay? Instead of having individual conversations, use your Instagram, use your Pinterest, use your LinkedIn, use your TikTok, talk about your favorite credit card, talk about the benefits and how you're able to take that trip for free. And when someone says, hey, I want to learn more, can I do something similar to that? You then send them a link. Now, if you want to do this on a greater scale, like what I've been doing here on this YouTube channel, it's completely possible. I think a good social media strategy right now is utilizing things like shorts, reels, TikToks, because even if you don't have a big audience, you can actually get your video seen by a lot of people, surprisingly, pretty quick. So I've seen a lot of videos go viral within the past few years because of short form content. From there, post it online for the world to see, make a second account, invest time into it. And then you can use tools like ManyChat, which sets up an automated DM where someone is like, hey, I'm interested to learn more about your card. You can then send it to them using this app, all without you having to do any work at all. Now, the second strategy is what I've been doing, okay? Post organically, post good, valuable content, give education to others. It took me 4 years to get to where I'm at now, and eventually that allowed me to get into the access of getting affiliate links with a lot of these companies. I still think this is viable. I started YouTube 10 years ago technically, but then it wasn't until 4 years ago where I really decided to take this current channel here as high as I could. Now guys, I recently came out with a full YouTube credit card course. There's over 11 hours of content. It took me 3 months to build that out. I didn't think I'd actually mention it in this video here today, but you will see me talk more about that product. I put my heart, my soul, my team did so much work. We have literally a 90+ page workbook in there. And if you've ever thought, man, maybe I can do this credit card stuff, or maybe I can make some videos on YouTube talking about other stuff that I'm passionate about, and you don't know how to start, you don't know where to begin, you don't know camera equipment stuff, you don't know anything about the algorithm or evergreen content, I got you guys. That's going to be another resource that if you want to learn more about, I'll have it down below in the description. So with all that being said, guys, if you are interested at all in applying for a card, I mentioned this earlier, but I want to mention it again. One way for you to support our channel at no cost to you is by using those credit card links on our website and using the links down below in the description. Look, I know I don't know you guys personally just yet because I'm talking to, my camera right here in my office, but I know that if you're listening to me now, you are a real person. You have the capability of doing that, and it does allow me to continue making free content like this where I can hire more people to help make even better content, to give more free value and education to the world. If you guys support me in my mission to do that, and you guys want to be a part of this whole movement of just empowering others with proper education regarding tools like even credit cards, definitely use those links. It supports us a ton. If you do use it, I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. If you don't use it, that's completely okay too. I still appreciate you guys for watching this type of content all the way till the end. All right, so let's get to the point here now. So how to Lambo with credit cards. First of all, even if you get all the best welcome bonuses in the world, you're not going to get the supercar. You're not going to get all that. Getting supercars, getting your dream home comes from starting businesses or getting a good paying job that allows you to have active income building up. Now, where credit cards do come into play significantly is where if you are paying it off in full and your score goes up, you're going to be able to leverage OPM, other people's money, more frequently, allowing you to get loans on these vehicles. Now, it's not always just businesses you start. I've started 4 or 5 businesses now. There are times where I literally thought I was losing my hair. I was losing sleep a lot of the times. There were times where I got burnt out, many moments where I threw in the towel. I was like, this is it. And there were some decent moments in history. We built one of the biggest crypto channels. We built one of the biggest credit card channels. We built one of the biggest affiliate marketing, dropshipping channels. We built one of the biggest membership groups to help others in their investing. We've done a lot of great things, but I'm one of those people that values leveraging money. All right, so after saving up for years, investing my money constantly, growing different streams of income, growing the business, supporting a team, there was a point where it still didn't make sense financially for me to buy a Lambo out in cash. This is where credit can come in handy so much. So number one, as you build credit, lenders are going to want to extend more credit to you. Number two, applying for a new car with a good score is going to be the difference between seeing a $2,000 a month payment. By the way, that's what you would expect on getting a supercar versus a $3,000 or $4,000 a month payment if your credit score isn't that good. Number three, like we said, you need to make sure that you have enough income, okay? Credit cards, you have to spend money to get a certain percentage back. So that means you have to make more money than what you're spending so that it all equates out. What I just mentioned with the impact of bad bad credit, notice this. This is just the interest and a payment on a car loan for $20,000 over a period of 60 months. If you have a terrible score and your interest is 14%, your monthly payment is going to be $467, comparing it to be at a 5.61% rate, $383. Now, if you do that on a larger scale where the car is worth $200,000, $300,000, this is exponential. So when using a credit card, make sure you pay it off on time. Make sure you build up enough income streams, because that is what's going to allow you to then make the decision of getting access to these different auto loans and dream vehicles and little splurges that you want to make. At the end of the day, credit just gives you even more access to different tools. And I personally believe it's a lot better of a decision for you to get something like a business loan or a business line of credit that even JP Morgan Chase extended out to me, where you start a business, you leave an impact, you provide value to people. At the end of the day, if you can help people, that's what money is. Money is just an exchange of value. Value comes from you helping others and helping them make more money, helping them solve their needs, providing services, providing value. This is why doctors get paid what they do. But it turns out, even though business owners and entrepreneurs may not be as smart, they can make a lot more money because their impact doesn't just go from one person at a time, but it can go from one to thousands, one to hundreds of thousands, or one to even millions. So I know I'm going all over the place, but credit really blends in with all these different avenues in our life. It's not just the credit card that you use to swipe. This is just one piece of the whole entire pie that builds your own financial identity. To wrap this video up, here are the 5 don'ts of credit cards. Do not ever carry a bounce. If you want any of this work, if you carry a bounce, it's not, okay? There are instances, yes, where there are some credit cards that have no interest, and I'm an advocate of that. If you're going through financial hardship, if you know how to utilize credit cards and you say, okay, I'm going to put my expenses on this credit card here. I'm not going to pay interest as long as I pay it off in 1 year. And within that 1 year period, you know you're going to secure that job. You know you're going to have money coming in. It's just a bit of a risky game to play, so just be incredibly careful. Number 2, don't just use one credit card. This is pretty much a no-brainer at this point in the slideshow, but there are going to be some people who say, oh man, I'm just going to use the Amex Gold card for everything. No, if you want to capitalize and make millions of points and do what I've done, you need to get more and more credit cards. If you don't use a credit card, it's okay. You don't need to cancel it or close it. You can just put it away, put it in your sock drawer, put it in your credit card binder and lock that into your vault. For me, with 20 different credit cards, I like to put little expenses on them, maybe every year, just so the banks don't go ahead and automatically close it for inactivity. If you go ahead and close a credit card with no annual fee, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. That can hurt your credit. It's going to show that you have a closed account. And this is one misconception. If you don't use a credit card, keep it open. Just don't use it. Keep on auto pay in case something pops up on there, so you're not accruing just interest for something that you didn't even know happened. So I didn't write this one down, but obviously put on auto payment for all of them, okay? Unless you are so meticulous with your finance that you have to manually put it out and you like doing that for some reason, I'd say turn on auto pay, forget it, and just stack your cash. Number 4, don't try to game the system. There are people who are gonna go out, buy gift cards and do all this stuff. Look, it's first of all, you're not gonna get a lot of points from doing that. Second of all, you are gonna get shut down. Third of all, it's not worth the risk and the stress. You can still make so much points, cash, and money just from doing this even the right way. Number 5, don't take out cash advances. With credit cards, yes, you can get cash out from ATMs, but they are going to charge a premium on that amount. There's never a reason that you should be doing this. Even if you're held hostage, tell them I ain't doing that, because Brian Jung told me not to. So ladies and gents, that is going to be everything in this video. First of all, I have a completely free Discord. If you guys want to learn more about credit, go ahead and join. I also have a banging Facebook group. All right, 40,000 members. We've been around for 4 or 5 years. It's called the Credit Society. Go ahead and join us there. I also have an email newsletter. I'm going to be emailing you every few days, just credit card tips and tricks, and then also credit card offers. If you guys want to go ahead and join that list, I have a link down below in the description. If at any time you're like, all right, it's too many tips, just unsubscribe from the newsletter. I won't take it personally, but there's a lot of good info that I share there. And if there are any good offers, I will mention it to you guys there as well. I mentioned this earlier, but to support the channel, you can use these affiliate links. If you don't want to, it's okay, but it is very, very appreciated. Check out the products we have down below. If you're interested in any specific credit card, put in my name on Google or on YouTube and search it up, and you're gonna find probably a review video that I made on that card. So the Capital One Saver One card, if you're interested in applying, I have a dedicated video. I'd watch that first and then check out the link and then apply for it, and then make sure you have everything turned on. This right here is probably going to be the most valuable video on YouTube. If you made it here till the end, I said something at the halfway point, like I'll be a little weird. Yeah, here ooh, that's weird. Ooh. Sorry, I'm getting a little delirious, I think, at this point. I love you guys. I really do. Thank you for all your support. Be sure to check out all the resources. Follow me on Instagram and on Twitter if you haven't done so already. And that's it. That is the ultimate credit card hacking guide. If you guys have any feedback, let me know down below. One last thing, comment down below if you made it till the end. This is how I know you guys are the real ones. This is what really encourages me on the days where I'm like, man, did I just film a video for 3.5 hours without eating or doing anything? Was it worth it? Yeah, your comments make it worth it, you guys, and I appreciate it. So if you made it till the end, just comment down below your favorite part of the video. Okay, I read every single comment. It means so much to me, genuinely. All right, so that's gonna be everything. I love y'all. I'll see y'all soon. Peace.